Francois Marais, Polyco, Executive EPR Specialist.
The graveyard shift. I always seem to get that one, and I understand because I think I'm extremely boring at times, and therefore is probably the reason. So thank you, Safripol, for the opportunity to be here today. I think I personally noticed quite a few things happening, and an interesting thing that came to light for me was that awareness, education, change of behavior, those are the type of things that came up all throughout the day, and I think they are very important things. So just to give you a little bit of background of Polyco for those who don't know us. So Polyco is a PRO. Of course, we are MPC, and we're the PRO, or the Producer Responsibility Organization, that manages EPR on behalf of our members, and Polyco invests in plastic recycling initiatives in order to grow the collection and recycling of plastic packaging in South Africa. So, for our sins, just to give a little bit of a background, over the last 11 or 12 or 11 years, Polyco has been in existence, and we mainly looked after the polyolefins, the HDPEs, PPs, LDs, and so forth. And over the last 10 or 11 years, a good economic situation has arisen from that, or from the funding and the input that we had in that particular industry. And I think it's probably true for most of our other PROs that have also been in existence for a very long time. And recycling has been going well in those. And then our board threw us in the deep end and said, from now on you will look after all the plastic streams. So immediately we now get the difficult to collect and recycle streams as well, mainly PVCs, the multi-layers that we spoke about a lot today, of course, and the polystyrenes, the expanded polystyrenes, HIPs, etc. So those are the challenging ones in our situation. Then, if we carry on a little bit, we'll just look at some EPR highlights that we've had over in the year of 2022. So that being the implementation year of extended producer responsibility as we know it. And it was a tough year, I can't lie. We invested 21 million rand during 2022, and we managed to unlock 21,000 tons of extra plastic packaging through our collection and recycling initiatives. However, if we look at our almost exciting project that we've also had over the last couple of years, which is packaging, and I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with packaging, but it is basically a mobile buyback unit, or you can have a static unit as well. This has enabled us to actually pay out over 8 million rand to waste pickers and households. And here we're talking about mostly unprivileged households, people who really need the money but are too far away from buyback centers, which helps obviously to put some food on the table. We've rolled out 11 of these units over the years, and our aim by the end of this year is 20 units. So we do get a lot of sponsorship and assistance with the likes of ShopRite, Sasol, and Safripol, and a lot of other industry leaders, which enables us to go ahead with this. So if we look at Polyco's situation, so Polyco is a little bit unique in the sense that our members are many, they're not all massive. Our recyclers are also many, and I'm talking in the hundreds, and it's a very difficult industry in the sense that you can have a recycling business doing 100 tons a month, which makes it quite a a scary thing to manage, if you like, because of all this businesses that is involved here. So as I said, we've got over 700 obliged producer members already. And our industry traditionally has not always had the commitment to join, especially the voluntary schemes that we've had. And now with it becoming a mandatory situation, the things are changing. So we used to have around 70 members, just to give you an idea, a couple of years ago. Now we're sitting with 700, and we don't have everybody on board. There are, believe it or not, still, and some very big companies that are not on board yet, not compliant, haven't registered, but we do expect that to change. It is mandatory, and obviously it's an obligation that one has to do. So the result of that is over 2,500 engagements with current and potential members in the last 6 months alone, and that was an enormous job. So I wasn't grey at the beginning of the year. The story has changed quite dramatically, and I did look much younger. So if we look at the PRO Alliance, which Jane is here, and so just to give a little bit of background here, so we are part of that, of course, and one that I don't see on here, and I must please apologize, I'm doing this presentation on behalf of my CEO. She couldn't make it, so it's not my presentation specifically. But there's one that's missing here, I think it's IWASA, which would cover all the plastics, paper, glass, and metals, as far as my understanding goes. And I know Petco also has some paper-based products in their situation. So I think important here is collaboration between PROs in the sense of projects that's in their regulations, such as waste picker fees, municipal collaboration, those type of issues. It makes more sense to approach them from a PRO alliance point of view rather than individual PRO. So as I said, education and awareness. I mean, one of the most important things is separation at source. We've been speaking about this for many, many years, and we'll probably never stop speaking about it. But in the end of the day, the success of anything is when we as citizens or consumers take responsibility for what we do, and that makes it much more easier for industry to actually action on those things. Just take contamination. So if you don't put contaminated product into a bin with other product that is recyclable, then there's a better chance that it will end up being recycled. And there's one thing I would add here is also industrial awareness and education. We always tend to think that the industry knows what they should do and what they must do and what they should do, but it isn't always the case. And I think that is a part that Polyco also tries to give the awareness there for our members and educating as far as we can. So over the years, Polyco has educated more than 75,000 learners and 2,000 teachers, all about, and of course, when we do the education and awareness thing, we don't just talk about plastics, we talk about all the streams out there, paper and everything. And Polyco's Million Plus consumer campaign, we've reached over 250,000 engagements in only a few months. And the aim there is to create a following of committed, recycling-minded consumers that can grow a positive recycling culture in South Africa. Also with the packaging, as we saw earlier on, that is also combined with an awareness and education program. So people do have an opportunity in very difficult situations where, like I said, maybe in a rural area, the opportunities are very small for them to make any money. They don't have jobs. Here's an opportunity, and in the same time, there's an education about what they're doing and why they're doing it. It's not only about the money, but they're also doing good, and that also gets made aware to them. So the first year of 2022, everybody wants to know, what do you do with the money? Well, let me tell you, the first year wasn't easy. I don't know if the other PROs probably had it very easy. Polyco haven't. we had many challenges. Some of the challenges are similar for other PROs, of course. So I think one of the challenges that we've had is that there was a lot of confusion about the definitions in the actual regulations. One of those, probably the biggest one, being who is the producer. So that was a challenge. Just to don't make it a small challenge, it was huge. And then, of course, determining an accurate representative share was difficult, as not all members started declaring from the 1st of January, and that mainly because of the late concurrence of the minister. So again, in Polyco's case, which is a little bit different, I would imagine, than most of the other PROs, is the sheer number of members that we have, and the traditional free riders in our industry. I know that other PROs have smaller membership bases with very large companies, and there was always, with the large companies, a lot of commitment on a voluntary basis even to do the right thing. And in our industry, it's a little bit different. So that was a big challenge. And like I said, up till today, not everybody has signed up either. Planning towards achieving the EPR targets was challenging, as the fees that was required to start these projects in 2022 wasn't really coming in. Because of the late concurrence of the minister, the members didn't want to pay because they weren't sure if it was going to happen and all sorts of things. So a cash flow situation was there, obviously. And what saved us a little bit, as I said, we spent over 21 million rand in 2022, was the fact that we were a voluntary association. And during that period, we still had some money over from the previous years that we could apply into 2022. So the clarity on who the obliged producer is. So like I said, there was a lot of loopholes. Paying partner, who is that? Who must pay? Who mustn't pay? Who's responsible? It's been a never-ending explanation to hundreds, probably thousands of people. In the end of the day, what we've decided was that if you do one of three things, you are going to be an obliged producer in terms of Polyco stance. That's if you manufacture, you convert, or you import an identified product and sell it into the SA market. For us, the SA market starts at the commercial market, as well as right down to the consumer market. And the reason for that is the type of packaging that we cover or that we manage is, in fact, packaging that transports other products or other packaging to fillers, packers, or whatever other function needs to be taken down the value chain. So, member services. So like I said, Polyco has been engaging with industry since the draft EPR regulation stages, and prior to the November 21, when the legislation came to effect. So many companies claim still that they were unprepared for the EPR scheme sign-up. Polyco still has to engage with industry to ensure that they are aware of the EPR regulations and for the reasons why they need to comply. So many of our members, customers, are even smaller. And it's very difficult to get them to understand that they need to be part of this value chain and that they actually need to be subscribed to a EPR scheme. So challenges are there, but it's also not only doom and gloom. People are going on. So just to quickly, I've had the time limit thing there, but basically in 2023, we should have around 110 million that we would be able to spend. So if everything goes well, we'll get it. Maybe perhaps important is that in 2022, we've managed to actually meet our targets. So that's also great. We still have enormous challenges with difficult to collect and recycle streams, like we said, which are the multi-layers, polystyrenes, PVCs, and thermoforms. Just over the last 10 years, Polyco has diverted 195,000 tons of plastic, and we've got over 104 project partners currently on our books. Thank you very much.